We are the cooking coaches. My name is Jacob Hooker, and today we'll be discussing P4 of the Click&Cook application. So this app was designed to address several problems. Firstly being that everyone eats, but not everyone can or does cook. We found that recipes can be limited to customization, and difficulty levels are largely variable. Some people just don't know how to cook, but also a lot of people just don't find that cooking is that enjoyable. How did we discover these problems? Well, the first step was to conduct user research among our own personal networks. This user research consisted of objective questions related to cooking, and it ranged between multiple demographics and cooking experience. Our next step was to research current applications in the market offering recipes and cooking instruction. We identified the limitations of these current competitor applications and then cross-referenced user research with competitor apps in order to close the gap in user experience. Step 3 was to prototype and put our ideas into motion to come to what we now have today.
Hello, my name is Na. So there are three main types of users or customers that we have targeted on our project. The first one is people with limited time to experiment or learn new cooking techniques. The second one is people that are cooking for others. And the last one is people who are curious about getting better and better at cooking but need assistance. And after observation and interview process, we have some example context of users. The first is a mother that works full time and cooks for her children. So she wants an easy way to access a recipe for the meal because she has limited time to prepare meals and to think about new things to cook. And the second context is a million student who always view restaurant ordering application like skip the list, Uber as the easy way to get good food, but at the same time they need to save money and they need to learn how to cook the new food. And they want they the people looking for easy way to look good food too without the effort of trial and error. And there are some stakeholders who could be impacted from this application. There could be grocery stores at this app could have the users find closest supermarket or grocery stores and plate to for them to order all the grocery items. Second, seeing people cooking at home, their friends and family of the users will be stakeholders because they can enjoy a delicious meal from our recipe. And the last main stakeholders is restaurant. When people start using the app cooking cost, there might be an increase in people trying at home to cooking, which we with the decrease the whole output of restaurants, since people won't be relying on them as much.
And Hi, my name is Johnny, and I will go over the planning the features of our app that was conducted from research. So the first one is recipes with tutorials. So for our app, it makes it easier for people to approach their cooking who barely have any cooking experience or want to try it out. So they'll have accessibility tutorials such as video, text, or voice tutorials, and favorite or saving a recipe feature. So it allows people to save their recipes for later if they don't want to do it yet, or just save a favorite recipe that they like. And search and sort recipes based on the type of meal or calorie intake, etc. So it'll allow people to search and sort recipes, so they can search for recipes they want based on a certain thing. And to share with the community of users is our next feature. So this will allow people the ability to make an account so they can actually share with other people with their recipes, and it allows for more engagement and a more enjoyable dynamic to the cooking experience. And here's some of the should have features that are submitting your own recipes. So people have the choice to make up their own recipes and submit it. A unit converter that will allow the people the convenience of converting a measurement, so they don't have to do it on a calculator. It's already built in the app for them. So there's another feature that will allow the people to show the popular recipes that are being used by other people using the app, and an auto lock feature that allows the app, when they're looking at a recipe, to their screen when they're cooking, to wake up their phone so they don't get the phone dirty when they're cooking. And then finally, could have features are ingredient shopping lists, so people can add ingredients to their shopping lists when they're going to make a recipe. And then a comment or review feature for the users to comment or review on other people's recipes. An ingredient cost feature, which will allow for the people to see how much the ingredients cost for a recipe. And then finally, a ingredient substitution feature, which can allow the people to substitute in a ingredient that they might not have that's in the recipe.
Hi, my name is Matthew Monis, and I'm going to be talking about our affinity diagramming and our sketches. So through research and affinity diagramming, well, some of the main features that our group came up with were obviously making cooking easier. So we want to make cooking easier for everyone, and so we have added easy to handle features like built-in timers and recipe delivery. One of the other main concepts we tackled were, what if a user does not have the ingredients? We made a one button add ingredient feature that adds everything to a shopping list from which they can go to a grocery store and use that shopping list. If they want, they could add one particular ingredient into the shopping list and not the whole ingredient list. We have even focused on the interfacing part. That is, we have even added a text, video, and audio instructions to how to cook a particular recipe. We have even made improvements on finding new meals and recipes. So common tags or search compatibility, or just filtering results to get a particular recipe that a user wants. We have, and one of the other main features that we have focused on is user engagement and community building. So we want to add other people as friends, and we want to encourage people to give reviews on other recipes, and so on. So these are the two example sketches that we came up with. The first sketch shows our homepage, the homepage of the app. As you can see, we have the Click and Cook heading, and we have a few recipes, like the trending recipes of the week, which will just pop up on your homepage. At the bottom of the screen, we have the shopping cart list, which will add all your ingredients. The favorites button, where you can save your recipes, whichever one you liked and whichever one you want to try in the future. And we have the My Profile button. And the second sketch shows how a recipe page is going to look. So we are going to have a meal picture from various angles, and of various different types of the same recipe. We have the ingredient list, which will give you which can allow you to change the ingredients if you want, and it will give you a small highlight of how to make, like a step 1 and step 2 of how to make the recipe, so that if you feel it's easy, you can go ahead and start with the recipe.
Through multiple versions of prototyping, and finally landing on a high fidelity prototype and presenting it to our colleagues in the class, we found 3 primary issues that we decided to resolve moving forward in the app development. These 3 issues were saving a recipe before publishing, we found that users may need to work on a recipe over a course of time, and we wanted to allow the flexibility and efficiency of the publish feature for a user to be able to save the recipe before publishing it. We also resolved the issue of adding categories and tags to the add new recipe feature. So originally we had no way for a person that was creating a new recipe to format different categories while building it out. And now this could be a large problem because then it would be up to the community to add those tags at a later date. So to enhance usability and flexibility, we incorporated the adding category tags. Thirdly, help and documentation to the portion feature. We recognize that when somebody is adding a recipe, they might be confused about how many portions a certain standard recipe amount or ingredient amount would provide. So in order to help users with that, we added an icon that would provide them documentation relating to portion control, and in doing so would help standardize this feature among the user base. I'll next go through each of these issues and show you visually what we decided to do. So for issue 1, we added simply a save button at the top of the screen next to publish so that a user could save the work thus far and then access it at a later date before publishing it publicly. Issue 2 was adding categories or tags to a recipe. So you'll see at the bottom, after all the other information has been added, the categories that relate to this recipe could be added in simply by pressing the plus button and typing in what categories this recipe relates to. Thirdly was the portion control help and documentation. So by clicking the question mark icon below portions would provide a small snippet explaining what the portions relates to, and then also a link to more documentation if a user is still unsure about how they should control the portions of their recipe, which should help in educating users on this feature and standardizing the process of portion control.
My name is Wonjae Hwang. Let me tell about the next iteration of Click&Cook. First, the messaging function will be used to expand user participation. Second, the service that marks the estimated price of the materials in the shopping cart based on the nearest grocery store. And third, it will also provide a service that can be delivered to users' home from nearby grocery stores or online grocery shopping mall using the shopping cart function. Thank you for watching the Click&Cook app presentation. Thank you.